Now, most of us start out playing golf by coming a little bit over the top and starting to slice the golf ball. And unfortunately, we're all given some advice that kind of works a little bit. You see, you've probably been told to take the hands and kind of feel like you're ringing a bell or pulling down on the string as you start your downswing. Or you may have been told to get those hands to kind of drop more from the inside. Now, this does help to kind of get your path a little bit more straightened out and can even help to get rid of that slice a little bit. But like I said, unfortunately, it kind of works. You see, when you do feel like you ring this bell or drop the hands from the inside, you'll notice that your right elbow starts kind of flapping out behind your body, and it gets stuck behind your right, the shirt seam on the right side of your body. You'll also notice that the club shaft gets way too steep as you start the downswing. Now, this can lead to basically every single problem that you're experiencing right now. It can cause you to stand up out of your posture so that you can shallow the club a little bit. It can also cause you to kind of stall out your hips so that you can let the hands and arms catch back up. If you're looking for face on, it can cause you to lose a lot of that lag and start to cast as you're doing this. And it may even cause you, when you look at impact, to have your hands behind the golf ball instead of the hands in front of the golf ball like you see with all the best players. And all those issues lead to really weak shots. Now, those shots could be fat or they could be thin. If you're coming from the inside, then you may struggle with those blocks to the right or even hooks to the left. If you're still coming slightly over the top, then you may result in some pulls to the left or slices that, again, they're all weak, and the biggest problem is they're just not very consistent at all. Now, the bottom line is that if you pull this club down to ring that bell or pull the hands more from the inside, what's going to happen is you start to rush your downswing from that pulling, and that can throw off your sequence. And we all know that once your sequence gets off, that is going to be the root cause of all your problems. Now, maybe you're being outdriven way too often, or you're terribly inconsistent with your strikes. Some of your shots are heavy, some of them are thin, some of them are off the toe, and then the next ones are way off the heel. Now, you end up way over in the trees, you're in the tall grass, or maybe even the hazards all day long, and it really comes down to this. Clay, how in the heck do we fix it? Well, there's some good news. Well, there's only two things that you need to learn. First, you need to learn to shallow the club rather than pulling the hands down and getting the shaft in this steep position. You see, there's another way that the pros do this, and once you start to get that club on this shallower plane, more from the inside, then you pair that up with the right way to square the club face. And once you put these two things together, everything starts to fit in your swing. Now, your buddies will start to get a little bit jealous because you'll start hitting solid, longer drives, time after time, and round after round. Now, I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the E-slot technique. Let's walk through exactly how to do it. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and take a swing to the top and get in a really good position. I want you to feel like your weight is mostly shifted to your right side and that your hips and shoulders are nice and free. I don't want to be locked up here. I want my knees to move, my hips to move, and that's going to allow me to swing my shoulders very nicely. Now, one thing that most people get wrong when they swing to the top is they don't get this tilt away from the target. So instead of being straight up and down or leaning to the left, I want to be slightly tilted away in what I call the stable fluid spine in my Top Speed Golf system. Okay, so now that you're at this great position at the top of the swing, what I want you to do is, instead of pulling those arms straight down or ringing the bell, that's going to get the club shaft steep and get this elbow kind of flapping behind your body. I want you to do something very specific. I want you to take the tip of your elbow and move it in a specific way. Now, not this small bone on the inside of your elbow, but I want it to be right here at the tip, and here's what I want you to do. Now, when we take this outside tip of the elbow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate and feel like I try to get this bottom part of my elbow facing toward the target as much as I can. You'll notice that when I do that in a golf swing, my lead elbow is facing the target, and there's this big gap between my forearms. You could see through those. Now, what I call that is the E-slot, and that's really important. Now, when you pair that up with your correct grip, everybody has a different grip, and most people have never been taught the right way to do this. That's what I call the natural positioning move. And when you pair up this E-slot with the natural positioning move, man, you're going to hit some amazing shots. Now, in fact, I'll guarantee you that you'll be shallowing the club on every single swing in your very next round and hit the most solid shots of your life. That's a pretty bold claim. That's how much I believe in this. Now let's jump into what the natural positioning move is all about. So look, if everybody knows that shallowing is the key, then why is it that 99% of professional golfers do it, but 95% of recreational golfers never do? Well, if it's so important and everybody knows it, then why hasn't somebody fixed this yet? Well, until recently, it's been extremely difficult to get recreational golfers to consistently shallow out the golf club. Well, when traditional instructors teach you how to get the club on a shallower plane, They give you this giant laundry list of things to do. And every single one of them is uncomfortable. Weird ways to move your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. And the worst part is it feels like you're manipulating or contorting your body in ways that it just simply doesn't want to go. And the worst part is that all those new thoughts and positions have to be perfectly synced up as you transition from your backswing to your downswing. And you got to pull all that off in about 0.15 seconds. So that shouldn't be a problem, right? Well, let me tell you, to successfully nail that as a recreational golfer is a lot of hard work and many months, possibly years, just focused on that one piece of the golf swing. Not to mention playing a lot of bad golf when you do try to take it to the golf course. Now, there is a great payoff if you put in all that hard work, but dang, isn't there an easier way? I mean, there's got to be something that isn't hard as heck. Well, it turns out that there is. There's a brand new breakthrough called the natural positioning move. And with this natural positioning move, there's a simple, effortless way to take these complex set of motions and make them nearly automatic. And you can bypass all that hard work. Now, rather than grinding it out for months or even years on the driving range, imagine shallowing it in not weeks or even days, but just a few simple swings like Michael did from Florida. Wow, I've struggled to do the move and shallow the club for months. This made it easy. Within 5 or 6 swings, it worked. Now that's what's possible with the natural positioning move. Now the concept from this actually came from the hit movie from 1984, The Karate Kid. Now I know what you're thinking. Just remembering that movie conjures up all kinds of terrible experiences of waxing for hours, painting fences, and sanding floors. But don't worry, the natural positioning move has nothing to do with practicing all kinds of awkward motions until your back hurts or your hands have blisters. And it for sure won't take a year or two of daily practice on the range before you start to see the first bit of payoff when you go out to play. And it also doesn't require expensive training aids or fancy new clubs. And certainly no trips to the gym or those silly yoga pants. And no matter if you've already tried 13 different ways to get the club to shallow out, or you've known for years that you need to, but you just haven't got around to practicing on it. Either way, you can finally use Mr. Miyagi's easy button. It's going to have you shallowing the club in no time at all. So here it is. Once Mr. Miyagi's student, Daniel-san from the movie, knew how to do the waxing motion, he could apply it to anything he wanted. Wiping the counters, scrubbing down a shower, or even blocking a punch in karate. Well, that's great, but how the heck do you use this in your golf swing? Well, there's one move that you learned decades ago, as early as 3 years old, in fact, and you learned it far, far away from the golf course. And that move can be applied to your golf swing in just minutes, and it'll have you shallowing it with every single club in the bag without even thinking about it. And that's right, you already have the muscle memory inside your body right now to effortlessly shallow the club out way easier than anything you've ever tried before. You just need someone to show you how to apply that natural positioning move to golf the same way that Jim from Michigan did. I don't know why I haven't heard that before, but when I tried it, it totally made sense. I felt it got me into the position I've always tried to feel. And this is all backed up by some pretty cool science that I'll cover in a minute. But for now, if you want to skip all that hard work of learning completely new motions that are awkward and tough to put together, like you're just manipulating the club instead of actually swinging it, and you just want to simply hit that easy button so that you can naturally shallow the club out and start hitting the most solid shots of your life, and as soon as today, just like 78-year-old Peter from Florida, who said, "Fantastic method. It was easy to understand, and I was able to take it to the range the same morning. On the golf course, my swing naturally fell into place, and my ball striking immediately improved. The next day out, I shot 77. That's one under my age. And driving distance was dramatically improved, and irons were crisp." Now, if you're ready for that, you're going to want to pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you. Hi, my name's Clay Ballard, and in case we haven't met yet, let me quickly introduce myself. I played professional golf for about 15 years now, and I've taught the swing for just as long. Now, during that time, I've taught some PGA Tour players and some other tour players, but nearly all that time, in fact, around 22,000 hours, I've dedicated my life, and it's completely taken over my life, in fact, trying to answer one single question. How can I distill down the few real fundamentals that are going to make the biggest difference in recreational golfers' lives? To drive it farther, to stop slicing, and to hit it consistently solid. And most importantly, to have a whole heck of a lot more fun when you're on the golf course. And I wanted to do that in the clearest and easiest to understand way possible. And that's been my mission. That's why it's so great when I hear feedback like this from John Shepard of Canada.
And I have been telling them just how easy it is to understand Clay's teaching. He brings it out in such a way that you get it. You just get it. He breaks it down in a way that you can understand it. A lot of instructors will teach you the swing, but it's all, well, short word, just mumbo jumbo. It's hard to understand. With Clay, he breaks every aspect of it down, and you can picture it a lot easier. And when you transfer it into when you're actually swinging the club, you really feel it.
That's also how I've built an audience of 579,434 avid recreational golfers on my YouTube channel. That makes it the 4th largest in the world, nearly double the audience of Golf Digest and Golf Magazine combined. But what the heck does that mean for you? Well, over the years, I've gotten tons and tons of feedback on how to gear every single word for the recreational golfer, so it fits your needs. And it's not the needs of some superhuman tour pro who hits 97% of their shots dead solid. Take it from Steven from New Jersey, who wrote me, "Clay, you've done it. I can hook the ball no problem now, and I'm longer. For a 79-year-old, that means a lot. To hit the ball 250 yards is a huge advantage over the guys my age. Can't thank you enough." Now, if you also want to enjoy your own huge advantage, there's simply no better way to shallow out the club and hit the most solid, pure shots of your life in your very next round than by doing the natural positioning move. In fact, the natural positioning move is one single move in your swing that reveals your natural wrist and elbow positions, so that you can finally unlock your swing and start shallowing the club for consistent and solid shots. But before I get into the natural wrist and elbow positions, I want to show you just how much better your swing looks in minutes when you do the natural positioning move. And to do that, to actually show what shallowing is in the golf swing, I like to use something I call the consistency cone. And here's how you can find yours. All right, so start by drawing a line from the ball up through the top of your right forearm at address, and another one from the ball through your belt buckle at address. Then fill that in, and you get the consistency cone. So now that you have that cone, we can very easily see what the natural positioning move does for your swing. Let's look at a student example. This is Bud. We simply measure where Bud's club head is halfway in the downswing, anywhere from the point where the left arm is roughly parallel to the ground and when the hands are hip high. On the left is his before swing. You can see how the club head is above the cone. That's simply just way too steep. That's going to make him stand up out of his posture and sort of flip the club head to save the shot. And we know that's a super inconsistent way to play golf. Now on the right, you can see that Bud's gotten the club head into the consistency cone. He's shallowed it out. Now he just stays in his posture and delivers the club from the inside for those awesome baby draws. Here's another example. His name's Tom. Just look how much Tom's moved the club head. Look at how much shallower he is in the after pick. In his before shot, he's coming right over the top, staring at an ugly slice right in the face. But now Tom's in a great position to slide down that cone on a nice, shallow plane for incredibly consistent contact with his hands ahead of the ball at impact. And one last great example is Susie. In that before swing, Susie had to manipulate the club to keep the ball in play on the course. But now she's in a beautiful position to allow the club head to release very naturally. She can just be an athlete and let the club head work as it's intended. And that's the power of the natural positioning move. Of course, it's not just recreational players that are doing this. All the guys on TV shallow it out too, right into the consistency cone, and we know how good they hit it. Here's an example of one of my students, PGA Tour player Rob Oppenheim. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry, but Rob's swing is pretty daggone fast, which of course is a benefit of getting into the consistency cone. When you use the natural positioning move to shallow it out, you can just turn and burn, because you no longer have to manipulate the club with all those small muscles in your body. Alan from Colorado has a great example of this. I went to the range early this morning for about an hour and a half. I followed your suggestions, and the results were astounding. Hitting a 7-iron into the stiff wind 20 yards farther than whatever the heck I was doing prior to your lesson. The turn back and through was easier. Now, a common question at this point is, how does the idea of shallowing into the consistency cone relate to getting into the slot? I've heard of the slot before. Well, it's basically the exact same thing. And you've heard this for years when tour pros were getting into the slot. So if all the best players are doing it, there must be a good reason. And there certainly is. And it's not just to make your swings look good on video. It turns out there's some pretty crazy forces going on in the club in the downswing. It's impacted by your hand path, the center of the club's mass, and several other really complicated things. But I'm here to simplify all that for you. In fact, here's all you really need to know. Golf's terribly hard when your swing works against those forces. And when you swing steeply, you fight those forces. On the other hand, when you shallow it out with the natural positioning move, you work in harmony with those forces. That means you're more consistent and the club automatically wants to square up for you. You don't have to manipulate it with your hands, and you gain effortless power too, just like Robert here. 20-yard difference with my 7-iron with a laser light flight path. So you probably already know that shallowing the club is something that you should be building into your swing, and there's a good chance that you've probably tried at least a few tips to make this happen. The problem is that this shallowing motion happens in 0.15 seconds or so in the transition, when lots of other stuff is happening in the swing. So it's hard to get all the individual parts right and then sync them up into a very easy motion. So then how does the natural positioning move compare to the old complicated way? Well, Alan Shaw explains it better than I ever could.
Like I said, I've gone to some of the very, very top pros that you've heard of. The problem is putting everything together or trying to patchwork everything together. And, you know, at the top of your backswing, now you're wondering, well, how in the hell do I get that toe to come down? You know, and so this takes so much of that away. I mean, it makes it so much simpler. I guess there's no one swing thought, I guess is what I like. Whereas before, if I have a swing thought, then all of a sudden it just becomes you're overloaded. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't do other things correctly.
You know, we've all been in Alan's shoes, and that's why the natural positioning move is so powerful. You already know how to do it, and it takes care of everything in your transition with a single move. Here's how it works. First, we use the natural positioning move to find your natural wrist position, which ensures your club face will be square or very slightly closed at impact and practically forces your hands ahead of the golf ball at the same time. And you may not believe it, but this one step will have you hitting some of the most solid shots of your life instantly, just like it did for John from South Carolina. Clay, I feel that the natural wrist position promotes a solid strike. This can truly be felt upon impact. The ball fires out as if there was no effort. Plus, if you've ever struggled with a weak slice or weak shots to the right, get ready for that sweet right to left ball flight, just like Tom from Honolulu. I'm a natural fader of the golf ball, and until now, I was never able to consistently draw it. Congrats. You helped me do something that was very unintuitive, and I'm looking forward to working the ball now. You see, every player has their own slightly unique natural wrist position based on your flexibility and range of motion and personal preference for what just feels right. If you want proof, just check out these pros. Some bow their lead wrist a crazy amount of impact, just like you see on the left. On the other end of the spectrum, some have a flat or even very, very slightly cupped lead wrist like you'll notice on the right. Point is, the pros know their natural wrist position. So why in the heck hasn't anyone ever mentioned this to you before, much less shown you how to find yours? I mean, you can almost hear the frustration in John's voice when he told me, I have never been taught how to shallow my swing and the correct method to get my wrist in the correct position. I was doing it all wrong. So why was he doing it all wrong? Because no one's ever taught him the natural wrist position concept before. And without establishing your natural wrist position, it's dang near impossible to play great golf. As you can see from the pros, no matter what position is right for them, it allows them to catch the ball perfectly clean so it rockets off the face with a penetrating trajectory for increased distance, maximum ability to play in the wind, and amazing control of the ball spin and height. Of course, it's not limited to the pros. Here's Kenneth from Louisiana using the natural wrist position. I played golf yesterday in a 20-mile-an-hour wind, gusting to 30. After practicing at home for a while and a brief warm-up on the range, I really hit some good drives and several greens. It was a great success. A low draw into the wind is an awesome shot. And that's just one of many new shots the natural wrist position unlocks. That's why I created a 3-step process to uncover your natural wrist position, and here's what Robert from Australia had to say about it. The natural wrist position concept is so simple and obvious. It only takes 2 short minutes, and you never have to worry about it again. It frees you up, maybe for the first time ever, to hit those ideal impact positions the pros demonstrate time after time. The hands ahead of the golf ball, the hips open, chest covering the golf ball, a square club face, left ankle, hip, and shoulder all lined up. And it feels totally natural. That's right, when you compress the heck out of the golf ball, it turns over from right to left, and you can kiss those glancing blows goodbye. You're completely comfortable and relaxed at impact with that amazing feeling you get in your hands, and that head-turning sound that can only come from the perfect strike. But don't take it from me, here's Kurt from Texas. When you do this correctly, it's a great feeling. I hit one with a new approach, and the sound and result made the people next to me ask what I was doing. Impressive. You hit solid shot after solid shot, leading to those rounds that you never want to end. Those rounds that you're so excited about, you absolutely cannot wait to get back to the golf course. And as great as all that is, we're just scratching the surface. As Gil from Pennsylvania points out, by the end of the round, I was starting to hit some solid shots with a slight draw. The number of very solid shots I had virtually immediately convinced me that this is the way to go. After establishing my natural wrist position, I felt I had a few less voices to listen to by concentrating only on my elbow positions. Now that you're enjoying clean contact, swing after swing, and watching the ball fly straight or even move a little bit to the left, it's time to make your entire swing feel so much easier. Natural, automatic even. We turn back to the natural positioning move again, and this time we find your natural elbow position to automate things, like it did for Ian in Western Australia. I reserved judgment until I could go to the range. For me, the most useful advice was getting the elbows wide, the window between the elbows. This automatically squares up the face. Much appreciated. I thought it made a massive difference. Now, if you've ever paid attention to what happens to the right elbow in the downswing for most recreational golfers, you've undoubtedly noticed what I call the flapping elbow. See how in this image his elbow is pointing back behind him? This flapping elbow steepens the club shaft. Instead, you want a tucked in elbow, like you see in his improved swing, where it points down to the ground at this point in the swing, with the elbow leading the hands, not following behind. And when you pull this off, the club gets shallowed out. So the forces in the golf swing work for you instead of against you. This means you're finally using the club in the way it's intended and designed to be used. And delivering the club powerfully through contact finally seems effortless. You no longer have to manipulate the club and rely on precise timing and precise hand-eye coordination to square up the club face. In other words, you're way more consistent while also adding speed and distance. Not to mention, you'll be consistently taking a shallow divot just like Gary and just like the pros. The problem is, it can feel super awkward trying to get that elbow tucked. Depending on your range of motion, it may even be uncomfortable or seem impossible. Well, not anymore. You see, there's a way to get your elbow in the right spot without even thinking about it or feeling like you're contorting yourself. Simply swing the club using a move that you learned decades ago, as early as 3 years old, far, far away from the golf course. You guessed it, it's the natural positioning move. Just like when finding your natural wrist position, you walk through a super simple process to reveal your natural elbow position. Again, it's a little unique for each individual golfer, but when you put in the 2 minutes to find it, your golfing life changes forever. Seriously, forever. Your swing looks radically better like the good players at your course. In fact, your buddies will notice right away. You may even get a small gallery on the driving range. Just ask Chuck from Arkansas. Went to the course and played 18 after watching the video. I practiced the drill on the range, noticed a significant improvement in my ball striking, and a friend I was playing with commented that I was getting the club down and through the golf ball much better. I interpret that to mean I'm not standing up at impact. Not only that, but your swing finally feels really good and synced up, rather than like all the parts of your body can't quite find a way to work together. And because you now sequence so well, the whole motion revives the real athlete in you. It's like turning the clock back 20 years or more. In fact, that's how Michael from Florida described it. The chopping motion and the elbow position of the lead arm were new to me, but definitely felt athletic and powerful. I was making solid contact with my 7-iron and I picked up about a club of distance. Overall, you have such a boost in confidence that you look forward to playing with anyone, any day, and you're ready to step up your game in the biggest events, whether that's cleaning up on skins with your buddies or hoisting the club championship trophy. Last, now that you know your natural elbow and wrist positions, all you have to do is step up to the ball and eliminate all your swing thoughts, except to make the natural positioning move in the downswing. And that's it. As Neil from Colorado said, this is by far the best shallowing draw instruction I've ever seen. The point the elbows part was one that I've never seen, which let me feel how to shallow the club without thinking. That's right, no more freezing over the golf ball or suffering analysis paralysis, or trying to remember that one thing that worked a couple holes ago, or picking which of the 10 feels you need to be focusing on each swing. Nope, we boiled it all down into one move that feels totally natural and gets you in the right positions. But don't just take that from me. Here's what John from New Jersey told me. The drill towards the target and towards the ball is great for stopping the over-the-top swing. Really gives you a natural feel for promoting the hips, body first swing instead of a shoulders, arm first. Nice way to feel lag developing. Honestly, it's almost like cheating because it takes care of all the stuff that you need to do in the transition. The shifting your weight to the left, starting to rotate open, getting the club head on plane, building massive lag, and of course getting that elbow tucked and leading with the hands. And carries you all the way into a powerful impact position. Maintaining your posture and covering the golf ball, getting your hands ahead of the ball with forward shaft lean, lining up that left ankle, hip, and shoulder, keeping your head behind the golf ball, clearing the hips, and pulling you fully through the shot. Yes, one swing thought, the natural positioning move, does all of that, while also shallowing your swing for consistent solid contact unlike anything you've ever felt before. Take it from California resident Jim. Anyone who does not relish this will never know the satisfaction this game can bring. Bravo. And while this may seem almost too good to be true, there's science behind the natural positioning move that backs it all up. Not only that, but the science that shows you can successfully use it in your very next swing instead of doing hundreds or even thousands of drill and swing reps required by other methods. That's because other instructional methods rely on this evil thing that science folks called neuromuscular repatterning. Remember all those times Tiger changed his swing and each one took like 2 years? Yeah, that was neuromuscular repatterning. And we all want to avoid that if we can, right? Well, the science behind the natural positioning move lets you do just that. It's got a complicated sounding name. Generalized motor programming invariant features. That's quite the mouthful, but a super simple concept. If you learn a movement in one situation, you can quickly and easily apply that same movement in another situation. And since you already learned the natural positioning move a long time ago in a different situation, you can add that to your golf swing. Well, quickly and easily. Now, if you're really into this stuff like me, you can learn way more about it in this paper from the Journal of Experimental Psychology and Human Perception and Performance. Of course, in the time it takes you to read all 12 pages and translate that jargon into plain English, you could put the natural positioning move into your own swing and already be hitting the most solid shots of your life. Just imagine walking out on the range or course tomorrow, standing over top of the golf ball with one single swing thought, and hitting pure shot after pure shot with a natural, effortless motion. And since you'll be thrilled to be skipping the hours of back-breaking range time to hone everything in, you head over the short game and putting area to practice other parts of your game for the first time in a while, leaving you with maximum confidence no matter what shot you're faced with in your next round. And yes, you can use this in your very next round. The natural positioning move translates from the range to the course seamlessly, according to David from Florida. I took these concepts onto the course today and I really had surprisingly good contact. And James from Stewart, Illinois. When I took these concepts out on the range and course, most of my shots were incredibly compressed. It works so fast on the course because it all comes down to trust. Think about it. Do you stand over a tee shot with danger crowding in from both sides and fully commit to a new, awkward swing change? Or are you more likely to confidently attack the hole when your swing feels natural, like something you've done a million times before? Of course, it's the second one. The natural move you've made millions of times before is the natural positioning move. So the headache, frustration, and desire to just give up and return to your old swing that inevitably comes along with trying to make a swing change will be shockingly absent. And from the first tee to the 18th, you'll stand confidently over every single shot, knowing exactly how to execute that shot in a nice, shallowed out downswing. And there's one more thing I should make perfectly clear if I haven't already. Golfers of all ages and all physical conditions can use the natural positioning move to shallow their swings, just as long as you typically score 105 or better for 18 holes and are simply capable of making a golf swing. That's all you need. And this was clearly demonstrated when we piloted the natural positioning move with thousands of amateur golfers, young and old alike. In fact, here are just 3 of many folks who enjoyed the fast success. First is Anthony Berlucci, a 49-year-old 6 handicap who feels golf's easier now.
It feels unbelievable because it's the most solid balls that I've hit. And, golf plays a lot easier when, I can hit it if I'm 175, 180 yards out and I'm hitting a 7-iron rather than a 5-iron.
Yeah.
Golf will play a whole lot easier. So, it made me feel like, hey, I understand what I'm doing.
And this is Dave, a 62-year-old. I've been struggling with a slight over-the-top swing with my irons, resulting in some weak shots off the toe. I got on the range an hour early and went through the natural positioning move. I finally grasped shallowing the golf club and squaring the face at impact. During my round, I hit draws on about 70% of my iron shots. I'm 62, and I've been playing golf for 40 years, and this resulted in the single most positive change I've ever seen. I'm now looking forward to playing in the next few weeks as I continue to practice these drills. You wouldn't need to change anything for me. And last, I'm thrilled to hear about 84-year-old James Piper Simmons' successes. Clay, you have simplified the secret sauce to your training program. I'm 84 years old, and earlier this week at the driving range, I experienced one of the most wonderful feelings that I can remember, the feeling of hitting the sweet spot. As a matter of fact, as I changed clubs, I continued to finally hit the sweet spot with each one of my clubs in my bag that I use for a full swing. The change I made was easy to do and worked each time. Everyone can have success with the natural positioning move because it's the only shallowing method that's specifically built to work around any flexibility, strength, or range of motion concerns that you may have. It works by showing you how to find your specific natural wrist position and your natural elbow position. Everything's based on what works for your body and your swing. Just like Edward from California mentions here. The drills clearly illustrate exactly how to customize and adjust your grip, tilt, plane, weight transfer, shallow, and angle of attack to my personal physical capability. After all, trying to do things that weren't natural to you undoubtedly caused many of your past struggles that we're now leaving behind. Check out some of these top speed golf students that are now shallowing the club. Here you see Preston getting into a much better position right into the consistency cone. And here's Paul, who really shallowed out the club and is ready to unleash some massive speed into the ball. Like them, you can simply start using the natural positioning move, free from any doubts about whether or not this will work from you. Enjoy the relief of simply letting go and being all in on the instruction with a clear mind and no limiting beliefs. And just in case you've been wondering, yes, the natural positioning move works with the big stick too, as Mike from Arizona can attest. Clay, I'm using the system for driving and works great adding accuracy and 10 extra yards. Okay, by now, you see how the natural positioning move is so effective at getting you to naturally shallow the club on every swing and hit the most solid shots of your life during your very next round. And you understand what makes it so powerful for fixing your steep swing so you can consistently make crisp, clean contact on the center of the face, swing after swing. And that's why today, I want to give you the opportunity to put it to work for a unique product called the 20-Minute Shallowing Fix. And by the way, because you're here today, as part of the earliest group that's getting access to this product, I've packaged 2 groundbreaking new videos, 2 unique guides to use on the practice range, and 3 never-before-seen bonuses, all of which I'll tell you more about in just a moment. Of course, you'll also find out what the 20-Minute Shallowing Fix will do for you and how quickly it'll work. So what's the 20-Minute Shallowing Fix all about? Well, it's a brand new online instructional course based entirely around the natural positioning move. That makes shallowing the club and hitting the most solid, powerful shots of your life easier and faster and more natural than anything you've ever done. Just like it did from Jeremy of Ohio. I was an elite athlete growing up. This video had me hitting 195-yard plus 7-irons for the first time out. Finally a way to shift my weight and get my hands in front that just feels natural. The first thing you get is the 20-Minute Shallowing Fix video series, which are online videos you stream on all your devices so you can master the natural positioning move, no matter where you are. This means you can easily shallow the club on every single swing and consistently hit the most solid shots of your life, just like Nick Oldfield from the UK. Clay, I've practiced this new drill on the range, and I have to say, I hit the ball better yesterday than I have in 40 years. In fact, when your new swing automatically delivers the club into impact slightly from the inside and with a perfectly square face, you'll cleanly catch the ball so that it melts into the sweet spot and then launches off like a rocket. Just as your club smoothly rips through the turf, leaving that perfect dollar bill sized divot. And as this 9-iron baby draw penetrates through the heavy air, carrying as far as your old 7-iron and then checking up 5 feet from the pin, the real payoff comes when your playing partners who involuntarily spin their heads and shout, "Wow, that sounded good." And so it goes for the rest of the round, puring it on almost every single swing. And as you stride to the 18th with a hop in your step, you barely notice the good score you shot because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Personal records are about to be broken since you're no longer searching for it. Just ask Robert from North Carolina. I'm 67 and I'm a 5 handicap from the old man tees at my home course. And I typically hit a fade or a slice. I tend to stand and hit weak shots. My personal rounds ever were both 74. I completed your shallowing of the club instructions on the range. I played my first round since doing these drills. I hit the ball way more solid. I hit it further, straighter, some of them with a draw, which I have never been able to do. I had 7 birdies, 3 bogeys, and shot a personal best 68. And here's John, also from North Carolina, who's on that golfer's high where you simply can't wait for the next chance to dial it in further and finally enjoy membership into that exclusive club of golfers everyone at your course knows by name. I spent 5 years with more golf tips, ideas, and crap bouncing around in my head as I struggle with this golf game and my inconsistent ball striking. I followed your step-by-step in this video. It was a holy crap, that is how it used to feel experience. I'm damn near giddy. I cannot wait to get to the range later this morning. Yeah, baby. The second thing you get is the 60 seconds to shallowing quick reference videos that summarize the full-length videos above into nothing but a few simple steps required to perform the natural positioning move drills. These save you time when you don't have any to spare. For instance, when you're in your car or the locker room just before a round, in the middle of your range session, or even sneaking off to the restroom between holes. Simply pull out your phone, click the button to play, and in 1 short minute, pull up the perfect drill summary video and be brought back to the exact steps and feels you need to be shallowing the club on command. You paint that picture of a perfect swing in your mind and even feel it in your core muscles, hands, and arms, calming your nerves and building extreme confidence that your next swing will be the best of the day. The third thing you get is called Coach Clay in Your Ear, a series of audio recordings like I'm right there with you, keeping you in the best frame of mind to progress your natural positioning move free of any roadblocks. I keep you moving forward so you don't sabotage your progress. It's sort of like having a top caddy whispering in your ear at the course. Maybe he's reminding you of a hyper-technical piece of the swing, or perhaps pointing out where you stand versus your opponents in the round. But most of the time, he's gently reinforcing some positives that have just happened, making sure your attention's focused, not on the entire day, not on every hole, just really focused on the number one next thing to do. And when you have a really supportive, good coach in your ear, especially in a moment where you're doubting yourself, it can be the best thing in the world to keep you moving forward, feeling good and getting better all the time. That's what it's all about. You have that voice of a coach that you can trust, who's supportive of you in your ear, helping you to focus on the next important thing. You may not see this as the most important part of the package, but I actually think it might be, because when you get this piece right, the excitement of improving steadily each and every time you show up to the course delivers the ultimate in ball striking faster than you ever thought possible. Just like it's doing for Perry in Florida. Clay, I put your video into action yesterday and I'm still smiling. I was doing all the things wrong that you discussed in the video and it made everything easier. Especially the front hip and forward shaft lean. I've been struggling getting my game correct after 52 years of my homemade swing, and this video gave me the straightforward and effective way to get straightened out and simplify the fundamentals to get me back on track. I hit the best 7-irons I've hit in the past 25 years. Thanks, and keep up the great work. The fourth thing you get is your Perfect Practice Workbook, which is a printable PDF showing you the exact drills to complete and easily allowing you to track your natural positioning move improvement, as well as your aha moments and notes for the future reference. This way, you always keep progressing because you know exactly what you've completed and what natural positioning move drills are up next. When you show up to the golf course, simply set down your bag, loosen up a bit, and pull out your workbook to see your perfect practice plan for the session. Review your notes and successes from your previous visits and realize just how close you are to owning your new, shallower swing like Jeremiah from North Carolina. All I can say is wow, for the first time in 22 years of golf, I was able to shape the ball on purpose without feeling awkward. But not only do you own your swing like Jeremiah, you also smile at how far you've come and what you've accomplished in such a short period of time, while also letting out a deep sigh of relief that you no longer have to figure it out on your own every time you hit the range. Now, with everything you're getting today, you have everything you need to naturally shallow the club on every single swing with the natural positioning move and hit the most solid shots of your life during the next round. But this is just the beginning of what you get in the 20-minute shallowing fix. Because when you grab your copy of the 20-minute shallowing fix today, you also get a unique bonus not available anywhere else, called the Guide to the Top 3 Training Aids for Shallowing the Club in 2022. With this bonus, you get a review of the top available training aids that will either speed up your improvement or empty your wallet. Just a quick note here. While you absolutely do not need any training aids to complete the 20-minute shallowing fix, a good one can certainly speed your mastery of shallowing. So instead of wasting time scouring the internet to hopefully stumble upon and guess which tools might be a shortcut to shallow the club faster, followed by the usual ordering, anxiously awaiting their arrival, inevitably realizing that there's more sizzle than steak, and angrily being reminded of it all again when you see your next credit card statement, you now offload all that to me. I demonstrate for you exactly how the top training aids work, thoroughly list the pros and cons of each one, share with you my star ratings on multiple criteria for all devices, and clearly explain which ones may or may not be for you. Basically, you happily test out multiple training aids from the comfort of your own couch without spending a dime until you're certain it'll be worth it. Plus, you totally avoid the fear of missing out on a device that you think maybe just could have helped your game. And that's not all. When you sign up for the 20-minute shallowing fix today, you also get another bonus called How to Dominate with a Draw, a video designed to maximize your new superpower of moving the ball from right to left at will thanks to the natural positioning move, which did wonders for Anthony from Oklahoma. It clicked. I practiced with all the clubs in my bag. Oh my God. Super high baby draws across the bag. Thank you. And Edward from New York. Hi Clay, I love this piece. Tried it for the first time today and I finally hit some draws. I've always tended to hit it right of center, and this technique finally took some of the mystery out of drawing the ball. And with this bonus, you'll finally take advantage of the scoring opportunities now available to you. When you step up to that long dogleg left par 4 you've always dreaded, you stand over the ball with the ability to play it aggressively. And because of this bonus, the knowledge of exactly how to attack it. Plus, you know precisely where to aim when staring down a pin, whether it's right, center, or left of the green. And last but not least, since your shots now regularly explode off the club face, there's a short transition period for dialing in your new distances with your irons because they're so much more likely to go past the hole than ever before. And that's exactly what Martin experienced. All my shots go 10 to 20 yards farther now and feel great. I keep going over the back of the green. But don't worry, I've got you covered there as well. Now don't think for a second this bonus will have you managing the course. Now you're in control, stepping up to each hole with a clear plan for domination rather than survival. And that's still not all, because you get one more bonus when you grab your copy of the 20-minute shallowing fix today. It's called the Shallowing Sessions, videos of my coaching lessons with real students, just like you adding the natural position move into their swings. With this bonus, you hear nuances of the instruction that only come from real back and forth situation. Sit back and enjoy as another student gets led through the exact same drills that you're doing. It won't be long until you feel like I'm talking to you directly, like you're right here with me interacting during an in-person lesson. Heck, I challenge you not to stand up and join in the in-person lessons progress, whether you're watching it from home or even in your office. Now you know you've done it. We all have. Of all the things you're getting, this one's the most fun, as we share the inevitable aha moments during the lessons. You might even feel like Steven from California who said, "This video's great, Clay, and by the time I finished it, I thought I was going to lose power in my house because so many light bulbs were going off in my head." Now keep in mind, I'm not sure how much longer I'll be able to continue to include these bonuses, but for today, you get all of them for free. Now with everything you get here today, the 20-minute Shallowing Fix video series, 60 seconds of shallowing, Coach Clay in your ear, perfect practice plan workbook, bonus number 1, guide to the top 3 training aids for shallowing the club in 2022, bonus number 2, how to dominate with the draw, bonus number 3, the shallowing sessions, the 20-minute shallowing fix has a total value of $520. So think of it like this, at $520, if all the 20-minute shallowing fix did for you is provide consistent ball then turf contact and the most solid shots of your life, just like it did for Paul Cook of the UK here. I've tried the techniques you described in the video with fantastic results. I was striking the ball better than ever before. I gained an average of 15 yards with my irons and 20 with my driver. If you could enjoy what Paul did as soon as tomorrow, would it be worth it? I would say yes, it would be worth it. But up until now, this instruction has only been available to a few golfers I've had time to give lessons to each year at a price tag of $1,500 per hour. And even that would be a one-shot deal with no ongoing access to all the information you're now getting 24/7 access to. If all the 20-minute shallowing fix did for you was turn your shots from weak, glancing blows into penetrating baby draws that sounded different, would it be worth it? Here's what Robert from North Carolina had to say. I watched the video and everything just started to click. Huge increase in ball compression. I can actually hear it now. Huge distance improvement and the ability to work the ball. I'm so excited. I can't wait to take my new swing to the golf course. So again, I would say yes, it would be worth it because you'll soon hear the good players at your club talking about your swing and the golf shots you hit. Maybe how they're surprised your handicap isn't even lower than it already is. Not yet anyway. If all the 20-minute shallowing fix did for you was fix your steep swing so you could finally shallow the club with a picturesque move, would it be worth it? Here's what William from Wisconsin had to say. The natural grip and elbow positions with the large triangular gap really explains the flattening of the club better. Nobody ever taught me how to square the club until now. Based on that, I would say absolutely yes. It would be worth it because your golf swing and even golf in general feels much easier now that you're working with the forces in the swing to naturally square the face and release lag powerfully through the shot. rather than fighting the forces and relying on perfect timing and elite hand-eye coordination. But today, when you sign up for the 20-minute shallowing fix, it isn't going to cost you $520. It's not even going to cost you the $200 everyday price tag that we offer insiders. Instead, today, when you grab your copy of the 20-minute shallowing fix, you get access to everything. The 20-minute shallowing fix video series, 60 seconds to shallowing, Coach Clay in your ear, perfect practice plan workbook, bonus number 1, the guide to the top 3 training aids of 2022, bonus number 2, how to dominate with a draw, bonus number 3, the shallowing sessions, which is a total value of $520, that regular sells for $200 for just one payment of $49. That's over 75% off the price and a savings of over $150. Now, if you're wondering why I'm giving you this really inexpensively, it's because you're going to get results, and you're going to get results fast. It's going to fix the biggest complaints you have with your swing. You're going to be a much more confident golfer coming out of it, just like Jonathan from New Jersey. It feels like I'm smushing the ball each time. What a confident feeling. And once you see those results, you're going to want me to help you with other areas of your game, which is what I really love doing. And on this site alone, I've already helped 87,322 golfers improve all aspects of their game. And I want you to be the next Top Speed Golf success story. That's why my team and I have put so much into this, as Anthony notes here.
Again, I would say that you folks put together a really good product. It's funny to me, I didn't even know when Clay asked for feedback. I figured you guys would not even bother to look at it, which is fine. And then when I saw all of the responses that you got, I couldn't believe that you actually went through all those. So, that's sort of a testament to the quality product that you folks are putting out there. You care about putting together a good product, which I appreciate.
And here's the thing, you don't even have to say yes today. All you have to say is maybe. And that's because you can put the entire 20-minute shallowing fix to the test risk-free. When you sign up today, your entire investment is backed by a 365-day, 100% money-back guarantee. You're either head over heels excited by your results, or you'll get 100% of your investment back. And you'll keep the product, no questions asked. In fact, I'm so confident that you'll love it that I'll take it one step further with my Solid Strike Guarantee. Go through an entire 20-minute shallowing fix course, complete all the practice sessions, document your progress with the included workbook, and hit the most solid shots of your life. Or email me your completed workbook to get every penny back. Plus, I'll even PayPal you an extra $50. Go ahead, click the button below, grab your copy of the 20-minute shallowing fix right now. You either shallow the club on every single swing with the natural positioning move, and you hit the most solid shots of your life during the next round, or it costs you nothing. That's right, I'm guaranteeing you results just like David from Rhode Island got. I've been playing golf for more than 50 years. This lesson allowed me to make the most powerful contact and compression of the golf ball that I've ever experienced in all my years of playing. The bottom line is that there's no need to continue feeling frustrated with inconsistent contact and wondering if you'll ever find it. You'll be swinging like Angelo from New Jersey, who says, "I started using these drills and I can definitely say it helped me hit the ball farther and with more compression than I have in the past. I'm also weight shifting to my lead side and impact like never before." And there's definitely no need for you to continue swinging steeply and searching endlessly through contradictory shallowing tips on YouTube that force you into an unnatural swing change that takes forever to ingrain. You can change all that with the 20-minute shallowing fix. Go ahead, click the button below, sign up for the 20-minute shallowing fix right now. Please understand, I'm only making this offer available for a short period of time because I don't want you wasting even one more day struggling with awkward, uncomfortable swing changes. You need to put the natural positioning move into action now. The best golfers didn't get there by procrastinating. And here's the thing, I can only guarantee the 20-minute shallowing fix, all the bonus courses, and the 75% discount are available for the next 3 hours. I may be taking this down or significantly changing what you get at any point after that. If you want it, now is the time to act. Go ahead and click the button below. Or check out the fantastic story from 70-year-old Tom in Hawaii who wrote, "I played around yesterday and hit some of the best drives that I haven't hit in years. This approach has been worth the price of admission and has resulted in a nice breakthrough to create a controlled draw that has legs. I'm now 70 years of age and am wowing others in my group who are now increasingly struggle with age-related limitations. I'm carrying 200 yards and with some run out, getting 250 yards of total distance given my now somewhat limited swing speed. That's plenty good at this point. In addition, I'm now getting some nice flight and longer irons that I've all but thrown away. So if you're ready to wow others in your group too, click the button below and get the 20-minute shallowing fix. And I'll leave you with this from Alan Shaw, whom I briefly introduced earlier. If there are any doubts at all about what this can do for your game, just listen to this quick story. Went to the range earlier this morning for an hour and a half. I tried your lessons to a T. The results were astounding. Hitting a 7-iron into a stiff wind of 15 miles an hour, I followed your suggestions just as you did in the video. No exaggeration, I didn't miss a shot. The ball traveled in a trajectory that I was attempting, low or high, all depending on the ball position. Slightly right to left, and as importantly, 20 yards further than whatever the heck I was doing before your lesson. The turn back and through was easier. Staying behind the ball was easier. Finishing with weight on my forward leg, certainly easier on my back and body. Divots were in front of the ball and shallow. Very impressive lesson if one follows a game plan. Get your game plan now with the 20-minute shallowing fix by clicking the button below. Let's go ahead and get started.